Hey everybody, how y'all doing? Welcome to the Blue Chip Podcast by fans for fans. This is your host Cody Potter. How y'all doing? We're going to go over a little bit of the week 4 and the week 5. I'm still doing a lot of grades for week 4. As you know, scouting every college football game, man, it adds up. So I throw a lot of names at you guys. The gist of it is, man, I'm a Commanders fan. I do a lot of scouting. I look for a lot of things that the Commanders coaching staff looks for. I know a lot of other coaching staffs on other teams, so when I do my grading, a lot of times when I'm like locked up at the end of the year, man, I put team fits and things like that. Like, just because a player doesn't fit like what my team is looking for doesn't mean I don't grade them based off of what I think the team that they fit best is looking for. It doesn't really impact my grades. It impacts the grades how I see them. So I talk about certain players a lot more than I talk about other players. But week 4 was pretty awesome, man. Miami got the win. Anytime you beat Florida, it's good. We got the bye this week, so pretty nice, man. Mazador, man, and Ruben Bain Jr., man, they're studs, man. I would take either of them on the Commanders, man. Ruben Bain Jr. is going to be a top 5 pick, so that's just it's a nice pipe dream. You'd have to sell the farm to get a guy like that, man. That dude is going to be special in the NFL, man. Just the height, weight, speed. Mazador with the bend and things like that, man. Like, honestly, like, when I watch these two guys, man, they remind me of, like, the old Colts, man. Like, the Dwight Freeney and Robert Mathis. Man, they're big guys. They get after it. They're super explosive, man. And, I mean, for college, man, Jason Taylor, man, the Hall of Fame defensive end from the Miami Dolphins. He's doing a hell of a job coaching these Miami U defensive edges up, man. And, honestly, man, all 3 levels of the Miami U defense is pretty good, man. I'm not going to be a homer this whole episode. I'm just giving them credit where credit's due. Like I said, I haven't graded all my players out yet. The USC game I graded and things like that, which is why I'm going to just bump into next week, because a lot of the guys that I graded from week 4, they have big matchups again week 5. So that's why I'm just going to get right straight into week 5. I'll go back over my grades. Like, dude, when the season's starting to wrap up, all my grades are going to start coming together. So you're going to really hear these names a million times by the time the draft comes around. So, like I said, just the easiest way for me to kind of move this episode forward was to really just kind of move ahead to week 5, because a lot of the guys that I graded for week 4, they're on my week 5 list. We all see the matchups, man. The matchups for week 5, we have Penn State, Oregon. We got Georgia, Bama. I mean, it is the who's who of matchups, man. I'm going to show some week 4 clips on the background just to kind of see you're not watching me completely. But Georgia, Bama, that's always a good game. Georgia's playing really, really good football right now on all 3 levels, all three phases of the game, coaching, everything. They always do. Well-coached team. I mean, elite 5-star athletes at just about every position. Same thing with Bama, man. Kalen DeBoer, man, he's a coach that I loved at UW. I think he's still transitioning there. Will they give him the time? I don't know. But honestly, man, like, if they do, I think he's a hell of a coach. I think Bama will right the ship over time. Ole Miss LSU, that's going to be a hammer game, man. This is Lane Kiffin's time to kind of take the next jump. Texas A&M, Auburn. This is a game that has a lot of players that I'm really, really starting to hop onto. Whether it's this year's draft, next year's draft. Washington, Ohio State. Washington's kind of one of my little pet teams right now, man. They got a quarterback that I really, really like. I didn't put him into my featured players on this because he's a sophomore, true sophomore. Auburn, they're getting it together. Ohio State, we all know what Ohio State has. So when Washington's playing Ohio State, Washington is like 22. They've won their last 22 games at home. Ohio State's won their last 19 games on the road. So somebody's got to break this week. I think that's a game that I'm really, really interested in, man. Got a couple of players from both of those. From both of those teams. They're both loaded. By the time you talk about the next 3 draft classes, they're going to be very well represented. Illinois, USC. I got USC on here, man, because they're starting to really, they have a ton of prospects that I'm really starting to grade out that I really, really like. Some do fit our team, some don't fit our team. Really, really love the free safety there, but we're going to get into that. Arizona State, TCU. That's going to be a pretty good game. I'm really high on Jordan Tyson, man. He's a really good wide receiver. I don't know if he's necessarily what this team is looking for as far as Washington and things like that, but he's just a player that I'm grading out really high, super high effort. Kind of reminds me of a Keenan Allen kind of player, just really refined in his cuts and things like that, and just a player I think he's a little bit more ahead of the college football schematic and things like that. Mississippi State, Tennessee. This has one of my favorite players in this whole class. If he does declare, he's a redshirt sophomore, so he can declare. Will he? I don't know, but we'll get into that. That's going to be the last name that I bring up. So, out of all these games, the featured players, I'm just going to go from quarterback. I'm going to go on down. I still am not featuring offensive linemen. Offensive linemen is something I do like right before the season is over. Like, I collect my tallies and I go back, and as I'm watching games like that, like I pretty much right up until the Senior Bowl finishing is when I wrap up my offensive lineman, man. It's pretty quick. It's pretty easy for me to do, so I kind of do that second to last compared to like the defensive backs and things like that when I do my grading. Defensive backs I grade the quickest. They're just the easiest for me. It's the position I like to play. It's the position that it just sticks out for me, the way that the movement skills and the feet and the things like that, the things that I look for. It's the easiest position for me to scout, so I save it for last. Offensive line, I have a couple of little criterias that I really use as far as like for run blocking, pass blocking, and things like that. Movement skills, athletic traits, and things like that. So a lot of testing numbers actually do matter for me when it comes to the offensive line. It's one of the few positions that I really actually care about testing numbers. Because I feel like they do translate. You see it on tape and they match the numbers, in the testing numbers. A lot of times that tends to translate really well. So just, something that I do actually take into consideration. So my featured players, most of these guys are already known. We all know Garrett Nussmeier, LSU quarterback, man. He's probably going to be a top 10 pick in the NFL draft if he continues to play the way that he's playing. He's not the modern day quarterback, as far as what you're looking for, the elite level athlete, the Kyler Murrays, the Jaden Daniels, the Lamar Jacksons. He's not 6'5", 230, with Josh Allen's wheels. He's not that type of player. He doesn't have the biggest cannon of an arm, but he is kind of a throwback. And he has enough mobility to run. He is going to tear you up from the pocket. He's refined, man. He's a really refined quarterback, man. He's kind of, like I said, he's a throwback. And he has elevated his game this year. He's taking the time in. You can tell he's reading, he's processing, he's hitting you on all three levels of the field, and he's making all the throws that you need to make, man. Honestly, I thought Clemson was going to come out and beat them week 1. Clemson is completely just, they've tanked everything that they had for this season. There's a lot of really good players that I love on Clemson. Their draft stock has not really been affected because honestly, like, they're still putting on. They're just, as a team, they're not playing, complete football, man. 3 phases. They're having letdown moments in big games. Caleb Klubnik has not performed to the level I thought he would this season. So, I mean, honestly, just hats off to Garrett Nussmeier, man. He's really elevated his stock. One of my favorite quarterbacks in college football is looking like the number 1 pick, and that's South Carolina's quarterback, Lenore Sellers. He's everything you want in a quarterback, man, like that you're looking for nowadays. Big, strong, athletic, rocket arm, I mean, he's everything. Can he stay healthy? That's been the knock on him every year coming out of high school into college, everything like that. Lenore Sellers is a guy I really like. I think he has everything upstairs. I think he's cool, calm, and collected, but like I said, the health is definitely a thing. Trinidad Chambliss, Ole Miss quarterback, senior. What can I say, man? Lane Kiffin can put an athlete at the quarterback position with a big arm, and in that offense, they're going to put up huge numbers. That's what they do. He's running this system really good. I think this Ole Miss game is going to be really good. The LSU, I mean, this is the time for Ole Miss, man. Like, honestly, like, I think this is probably the best defense that LSU has had under Kelly, but if Ole Miss is really going to do it, man, I think this is one of their best collections of talent that they've had to be able to compete. So I'm really, really looking forward to seeing this, but it's going to come down to the quarterback play. And then we got Drew Aller, Penn State, for the Penn State Oregon matchup. I like both quarterbacks in this. Dante Moore, the Oregon quarterback, I think he's going to stay one more year. I think one more year would really elevate him into the top echelon of like draft prospects. Honestly, like I think he just fits. I think he just fits really well, man. Like, stay at Oregon. I really like this kid coming out of high school. I really liked when he went to UCLA. It just didn't work out in UCLA. Like that team is just, it's got some things going on there. I think he came to the right fit, the right school. Oregon has a hell of a freshman wide receiver, man. His last name is Moore too, but dude, like Oregon is loaded, man, and Dan Lanning is just putting out elite level, players, man. He's developing the players, coaching them into their skill set instead of playing into a certain system. He's not putting players in a box. I love that as a scout. Like, it really does allow you to see them, like, the player be maximized in college, so you have a really, really good assessment for what that player is going to be in the NFL. And I give credit to him, man, because a lot of coaches in college don't do that. They want to play into their system. So Dante Moore is a guy that I think should kind of go back, even though I think by the end of the year he's going to have his draft stock's going to be pretty high. So, it's really hard to turn away millions of dollars, especially if he can get himself to that, top 10 pick range. Jaden Maiava, the USC quarterback, that USC-Illinois game is going to be pretty good. Illinois has some defenders that I really, really like. I think USC is going to take care of this game. I highlighted the game mainly because of USC. But like I said, man, there's really good quarterback matchups in this week, man. Drew Aller in his own right, he's got first round ability. Again, he's kind of that Garrett Nussmeier, like the more throwback kind of quarterback. I have questions about Drew Aller. He's not exactly my favorite. But again, some of that goes into the way the Penn State runs their offense, man, which is why I'm going to get into the next position. You're going to hear about two of their running backs because, the Penn State's loaded at running back, man, with Middleton and Singleton and it's not even on here. Anyway, so halfback position, we got Wayman Jordan, USC number 2. He's a small, compact guy, catches the ball really, really good out of the backfield, man. I'm not the biggest, like USC puts out really, really good players. They did really, really good when the coaching staff was in Oklahoma. They're starting to build that here. USC is taking a little bit of time. They've kind of been knocked for not being a more physical team. They're starting to get players on defense too, and USC is really starting to translate. Have they had the hardest schedule so far this season? No, not really. So you're looking for things to kind of change in that department. But Wayman Jordan is a running back that I really, really like. One of my highest rated running backs so far for this season is Jonah Coleman, the UW running back. So the Washington-Ohio State matchup, this is going to be critical to his draft stock, like right here, because honestly, Ohio State is Ohio State. They're loaded on every level of the defense. Got the best player in the nation, and either whether you can pick your poison with that. You can either pick Jeremiah Smith, you can pick Caleb Downs, the safety from Ohio State. Like either way, those are two of the best players in the nation. I think they are the two best players in the nation. However you want to grade them out, I have Caleb Downs a little bit higher. I think he is the best safety prospect that we have seen probably since Sean Taylor, Ed Reed. And I know there's been other guys since then. You could say the Eric Berry's, the Hamilton's, from Baltimore, things like that, guys that I've graded out really, really high. But I take it back to Sean Taylor because I think Caleb Downs, just physically, athletically, mentally, just everything that he does, I think he could play both spots. He plays the modern era safety, which could fill both roles. He can play in the box. He can play deep over the top. He's got elite level speed, elite, football IQ, everything. Honestly, Caleb Downs is the best safety prospect that I've had since Sean Taylor, Ed Reed, and it's really kind of not even close. Like I said, even as much as I did like Kyle Hamilton coming out of Notre Dame, I just see this guy as he's a hell of a football player, man. Caleb Downs is a special player. I think he's the best player in college football right now. And then, so we got Nick Singleton, the Penn State running back, and then Devon Booth, Mississippi State. Those are two really, really good running backs. There's other running backs that are in this that are really, really good in this week in the games that I've highlighted, but some of them aren't draft eligible and things right now. So these are the guys that I stuck with. Wide receiver position, you got Makai Lemon, number 6, USC. Really, really good wide receiver, man. Really, really good all around. I think by the time this draft comes around, he's probably going to be the favorite, even over Jordan Tyson. I really do like Jordan Tyson. But I think Makai Lemon he's just very, very refined, man. He's got some dog in him. He's athletic. I think he's a little bit more twitched up. I think he's a little bit more versatile down the field than I think Jordan Tyson is, but some of that could be quarterback play, and it could be schematic right now for what we're seeing. Aaron Anderson and Mario Craver. I'm talking about these two together. Both of them are number 1 for their teams, LSU and Texas A&M for Craver. Both of these guys are very similar. Both of these guys are 5'8", 5'9", 170 pounds. They're like Mario Craver's on the TV right now, but he was. Anyway, other screen. Sorry. Craver is a really, really good player. Anderson's a really, really good player. Both of these guys are like in the mold of like the smaller versions of Deebo Samuel. We've seen a lot of guys like these come into the league. They're like slot guys. They're kind of weapons. You use them out of the backfield. Elijah Moore's from Ole Miss and like things like that, guys like that. Some of these guys have had a hard time translating because they don't hold up to their physical style of play, because athletically they're just really, really fast. They play so much inside. They're getting hit by linebackers. They're trying to separate against linebackers. They separate very well, but after they get the ball in their hands, they're getting smacked by linebackers too. So, a lot of people don't hold these players in high regard, but they are super twitched up. They're really, really refined. I think Craver's a little bit more refined from the wide receiver position. I think he can play the true slot from Texas A&M. The other A&M receiver, KC Conception, he's going to be drafted this year. True outside wide receiver. I think he's got a really, really good chance of going like round 2. Probably my favorite wide receiver in this draft is Denzel Boston, the UW wide receiver. If he commits, he's a junior. Again, this is kind of the narrative around these wide receivers, which is why it was hard for me to put a ton of wide receivers on this list, because a lot of the best wide receivers in football are juniors. They are sophomores or they're freshmen. We've kind of had a lapse, the COVID years and all these extra years of eligibility. Eventually it was going to hit where you don't have a bunch of seniors and things like that are translating over. We're starting to see that from certain positions. It's just going in cycles. But Denzel Boston, the UW wide receiver, he's somebody I really, really like. Right now he's my favorite player to come into the draft if he was to declare as a junior. If he went back, I think he could probably become a top 5 pick. It's all about where he's grading out to scouts right now. He's going to get that feedback, come the end of the year. And then Carnell Tate is a guy that I know a lot of teams have got to be high on. He's just been in Ohio State. He's just consistently done the job. In the biggest games, he's had big games. In the biggest moments, he's had big moments. Do you get knocked for playing next to, Emeka Buka and Jeremiah Smith? Ultimately, as Ohio State, just like LSU and all these teams with all these really good wide receivers, ultimately, you scout the prospect, you scout the player individually. You can't knock him for playing next to Jeremiah Smith. Ohio State is a factory. They put him out. You're not, whatever Marvin Harrison Jr. is doing, you're not knocking anybody for what one individual does. Carnell Tate has all the measurables, all the skill set. He's a really, really good wide receiver, and I just like this guy a lot. I still like Denzel Boston the most. 2 tight ends that I got highlighted right now are USC's Lake McCree, and then Kenya Sadiq is my number 1 tight end. My number 1 tight end for a reason. He is a true leader on Oregon's offense. I think he's the best player on Oregon's offense. I think he brings everything that Dante Moore needed that he definitely wasn't getting at UCLA. He gets that in the tight end package. For somebody with Dante Moore's measurables and things like that, man, having a tight end in that ability in that build. I mean, this dude's a physical freak, man, and he's just taken over from the Oregon, pipeline of tight ends, playing really, really good. I think he's probably the worst blocker of the last couple of Oregon tight ends that have come out, but that's not saying much because those guys were blocker first tight ends. This guy is a truly gifted pass catching, tight end. Not to knock his block, his run blocking and things like that. And then we're going to go to the defense. We'll go to like Will Echoes, the interior D lineman from Ole Miss, and then Bobby Travis from Auburn. Not going to get into them very much, but these guys are just the type of interior defensive lineman that I really, really like. Both of them are 320 plus. They're really, really athletic, very, very disruptive in the passing game, even though they might not have the sack numbers, that reflect that. And then, I've talked about it since day one, before the season even started, man. This is the cream of the crop when it comes to me and me personally, what I'm looking for this edge class. I mean, for this draft class, this is the premier position for me, is the edge rushers. This is the, if you look around Washington's roster, we need an edge. Well, the thing about it is when your need meets the strength of the draft, you have a better chance of finding the guy that really transitions very well. You don't have to reach for a certain player because you're getting a player of value. Maybe he's the eighth ranked on somebody's board because they like a certain skill set or a certain build better than another. That's why you always see these names kind of hop around. There's so many names when it comes to the edge class. So you got Sunshine Perkins from Ole Miss, number 4. This guy is pretty small. He's not the guy that I would have graded highest up here. As I was going through the teams, Ole Miss was the one that I did first. Kendrick Falk, now that's a guy that I really, really like. 6'6", 255. I mean, he's in that like Montez Sweat build. I don't know if he's that explosive, as far as the testing numbers and things, but he is explosive as hell on the football field. He has improved against the run this season, which is something that I kind of like highlighted about him earlier, before the season even started. And then somebody that I like is this dude is just disruptive. I mean, he's a little bit older prospect, Cassius Howe from Texas A&M, number 9. This guy is a dog, man. And then Caden Curry, number 92 from Ohio State University. Ohio State puts them out, man. They're very, very well coached. And Mateo Ugalele, we all know the story of his brother playing quarterback, man. Well, this dude is a true, top 10, top 15 edge player from Oregon. He's a stud. And then we all know Danny Dennis Sutton from Penn State University, number 33. These are all guys that have first, second round ability, honestly, in their own right. They're all probably grading first rounders for me, except for, I think, the first one that I mentioned from Ole Miss. I got him right now just because of his size, man. His size it makes it really hard for me. Whether I think he's more of a 3-4 defensive end, but there's not really that many 3-4 teams. So again, it's just, there's a lot of things that go into scouting and grading a player and putting them where you think they're actually going to go. That's how I try to grade, and predicting what their actual value is, and like the team that's going to fall in love with them. I might have a player graded higher because there's just, he's not actually going to go in that range because there's not going to be a team in that range that's picking him. So it's kind of hard to always grade things like that. And then the linebacker class, very, very loaded. It's probably one of the first classes that has just more than 1 or 2 names that I really, really like for the first or second round. Whit Weeks, everybody knows. LSU, number 40. He is a dog. He's a really, really good player, man. He's going to be all over the field in this Ole Miss game. His brothers play at LSU. They're impactful in their own right. Harold Perkins, number 7 for LSU. This dude is an explosive, twitched-up athlete, man. He can play edge. He's kind of like this modern, all over the place, kind of like that Frankie Louvu kind of player. And then Scooby Williams, he has an injury for A&M, number 0, but this dude is all over the field, man. He's an impact run stopper, man. Very, very good build. Athletic, he's everything you want. And then, honestly, probably a guy that I think is really, really going to grade out well. Teams are probably going to grade him a little higher than what I maybe had him coming into the season is Jerry Mixon. Tanner York from A&M. He's a really, really good linebacker, kind of plays some edge, plays inside. Like they kind of mix him over all over the fronts too. And then Tony Rojas, number 13 from Penn State. And then to the position that is always, high for me, I got quite a few names on here for the defensive backs. This is corners and safeties, nickel players. We got Dejon Spears from LSU, number 10. He's not draft eligible. The only reason I put him on here is because honestly, he is grading out super, super high to me. I really, really like this player. I just could not keep him off the list, honestly. And then my highest graded player, not named Caleb Downs, is actually another free safety. If it wasn't for Caleb Downs, he'd probably be my highest graded safety since the Baltimore one that I've literally mentioned like 12 times already. Kyle Hamilton. Bishop Fitzgerald, number 19 for USC, man. This dude is a true back end defensive player, man. Like center fielder, range, football IQ, doesn't show up in every clip because he's a true free safety. He's keeping everything from going over the top. This guy is going to be a really, really good football player. Bishop Fitzgerald from USC, 19. Check him out. He's really good. And then Mansour Delane, the cornerback from LSU, number 4. He's a Virginia Tech transfer, man. He's a guy that I really, really like. He's going to go pretty early in this draft, man. He's a really good physical cornerback, man. He can play zone, he can play off, has really good feet, good eyes, tackling. It just everything I look for in a cornerback, man. And then we've already talked about Caleb Downs a million times, man. I mean, you're gonna hear about this guy all the time. Safety gets devalued. You're going to hear about him going all over the draft board come draft season. Truthfully, our team's going to do the Kyle Hamilton thing with the best safety prospect. I mean, that actually has the measured times and everything that match, a safety that goes in the top 5. I don't know. It's always hard to translate a safety as where they're actually going to go to where their draft grades go. They're very similar to tight ends, that the position's kind of devalued and things like that. But really, dude, a blue chip player is a blue chip player wherever they go. If they're true blue, they're transcendent, scheme transcendent and things like that, man. They deserve to go in the top 5, top 10. I don't give a shit what the position is. If the dude is too good, he's too good not to go top 5. And that's just the truth. I don't care what names you put in this draft class. You can give me all the edges, you can give me all the things, and I can't name 5 that are better than Caleb Downs. No matter how much I like him, no matter how much I would love him on this team, outside of Ruben Bain Jr., Caleb Downs, run that card in. You don't even think about it. And then Alex McLaughlin, safety from UW, a really, really good player, man. I really like this guy. He's more the in the box kind of safety, has the speed and range to play, back end. He's a true modern era, safety. Can play both spots, play down low. He's physical. He sets the tone. I like this guy. And then Zakee Wheatley, number 6, another in the box safety from Penn State. And then, like I said, this is a guy that's becoming like my pet prospect. The 2 cornerbacks from UW. I did not mention them, but both of them have a similar build to the next prospect that I'm going to mention. And I should have actually wrote the other UW cornerback down because he is actually draft eligible. Very similar to this player. These 2 are probably actually my highest graded corners going into this year, and which is crazy because their height is not something I usually tend to grade out very well, but both of them have the movement skills that don't reflect their height. So Kelly Jones, number 1 for Mississippi State. This is a guy that I am very, very high on. Looking into it, this is not the strongest cornerback class. No matter what anybody says when I say that thing, don't let me take away saying that overall last year's cornerback class was pretty good, especially inside corner. This year, it's not the it's not the deepest position. So you don't think it's the strongest position in the class, and of course it's not. But when I think about Kelly Jones and what I'm grading him out at, when I'm thinking about the UW wide receiver that is draft eligible, or the cornerback that is draft eligible from UW, both of these guys in their own right are getting top 15 grades for me. Their movement skills, their tackling ability, sticking their nose in. I like Kelly Jones a little bit more because I think he is a true shutdown corner. I am grading him very high. I don't know anybody that has him graded where I have him graded. I think this dude has true number 1 shutdown ability. I think he's going to translate very, very well to the NFL. His height, weight, speed is just insane in his movement skills and everything that I look for technical wise from the cornerback position. He's got all that. So again, this is my favorite thing to do. This is why I scout. This is my favorite thing to do in football, man, which is why I do this podcast, man. I love breaking down college players. I love breaking their tape, doing my reports and things like that. So I like to share that with y'all. As a Commanders fan, pretty much just do the pod for the Commanders. So when I do my scouting, it's mostly Commanders based. But the things that I look for translate to a lot of other teams, man. A lot of other teams like hard-nosed corners. They want corners that can tackle. They want corners that can cover. They're looking for explosive, dynamic edges. They're looking for the big guys that create havoc up front in the interior defensive line. Everybody wants athletic offensive linemen. It's just about priority. It's about draft grades, and it's about maximizing the value of the pick. That's why teams make bad picks and things like that. It's just sometimes the need doesn't fit the talent. But again, that's my episode for week 5, the foreshadowing. These are a bunch of players that you're going to look forward to week 5. They're going to stand out on the tape. You're not going to be able to miss them. If you're watching the games, they all will have their own impact in their own right. So again, I thank you guys for checking out the episode. It went a little longer than I planned, but thank you guys for sticking around for the Blue Chip Podcast, man. Have a blessed week and enjoy the football, man. Peace.